Fala galera, welcome to a new episode of the Strategist Corner. This time I'm here to show you 7 important tricks that can save you hours of work when creating your Mosaic models. Alright, so let's start with tip number 1. When you're adding large tables to your model like I'm doing here, consider applying a filter. In this one, I have a table with more than 1,000,000 rows. I don't necessarily need all that amount of rows in that moment. Later, I can remove the filter, but right now, while building the model, let me filter the data. So why not use like something date ID greater than or equal to, I don't know, 20, 25, 01, 01. This way, I'm limiting the amount of data I'm bringing to my model. That's important. That will reduce the time to publish this model later. Another tip regarding or related to that same one here, tip number 1 yet, is, again, when you're adding large tables to your model, in that case, I'm not talking about the amount of rows, but the amount of columns in the table. This table actually only has like 11 columns. It's not a lot, but let's say you have a column or a table, sorry, with hundreds of columns. You don't need to bring all your columns right here. So in that case, what you can do is you can click this button right here and you pick the columns that you actually need. So let's pretend in my example here, I don't need, I don't know, product ID or customer ID. So in that case, I go ahead and remove those columns from my model. Only bring the columns that you actually need. That is tip number 1. So let's go now and talk about tip number 2 that relates to portability. In the example that you're seeing here, all my tables are in Snowflake. But let's say later I decide, or the data team in my company decide to migrate from Snowflake to another data source, to Databricks, to BigQuery, or to even like Postgres, I don't know, whatever the data source is. Do it quickly. Just go here to your model, click Manage Data, select the table you need to migrate, or all of them in this case, like I'm doing here. Click Edit Table and easily change your data source. In this case, let me use a Postgres one that I have here. So I'm using Postgres for PM demos. The namespace, of course, I need to properly select the right one and click OK. And of course, I need to make sure that in Postgres, I have the same or at least a similar data structure. As you just noticed here, my data is now updated. You do it very quickly. You don't need to rebuild or to recreate your whole Mosaic model. That will take more time, of course, and of course this will lead to the objects that use your model being invalidated. We don't want that. We just need to keep using the existing one, so you can easily do this portability from one data source to another, as I just saw, in a matter of seconds. Let's go now with tip number 3. By the time you add your tables, when you finish add your tables and click proceed, my tip here is let AI do the modeling. You will see that happening all the way down here. This will take, the amount of time depends on the amount of tables, on the amount of columns. It can take like 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. The more tables, the more columns we have, of course it will take longer, but my point here is let AI do the modeling. Don't touch anything at this moment. As you will see here, you will receive some suggestions, preparation ones, modeling one. Don't do anything at this time. Just let AI do the modeling. Once it finishes, then you can do whatever the adjustments are and you continue with the creation of your Mosaic model, of your semantic layer. But don't touch anything, just let the AI do the work, all right? This will save you a lot of time, believe me. Let's go now with tip number 4, and it refers to reusability. What that means? Well, build your objects, all of them, inside the Mosaic model. Don't build things like outside, like in the dashboard or maybe in the third-party tool, whatever you need, build them here. This is your semantic layer. Do you need a new metric? Go ahead, click Create Metric, define a metric here, like I'm doing, profit margin percentage. Do it here. Don't do it in the dashboard. Don't do it in your third-party BI tool. Let the work happen here, because this can later be used in whatever tool we need. Of course, this will make the model being a large one. This will create, in terms of sizing of the model, this will be a larger one, but no problem, because that's what we need, right? We need reusability. We need folks using the same metric definitions here in strategy, outside, like in Power BI, Tableau, or via AI. So your semantic layer should contain everything we need. So that's the overall idea, right? Create everything you need for your specific use case inside of your semantic layer. Then you can reuse it. This way you keep consistency. Very important, right? Very important tip right here. If you're enjoying the content of the channel, I strongly invite you all to subscribe to it, and of course, feel free to share it with your data colleagues out there. Tip number 5 refers to the hierarchies generated in the model. It's very important that we check the model and the hierarchies generated. Otherwise, we can get weird results later when we validate the model. So let's look at this example right here. It seems like AI properly created all the hierarchies but one. There is a relationship here between month and customer. It seems like month is a parent of customer. Well, this is not correct. So it's important that we, the humans, we go and we check this. And if there's something wrong, we can just hover the mouse over, click in here, and remove that wrong parent-child relationship. And then later, check the other ones, of course. Remember, you can zoom in, you can zoom out. Check if everything makes sense, because later this will prove important when you're building your models, when you're actually building your dashboards and seeing the proper numbers. So let's go with tip number 6. That's validate inside the model. A lot of people waste a lot of time by creating the model, saving them, and then creating dashboards just to validate. You don't need to do that. We have this feature right here, validation. So all you have to do is start dragging your attributes in there, like I'm doing here. Let me just drag like product category. I actually covered this content in another video, but let me just quickly show it here. Just bring your objects in here and then validate. And of course, validate inside the model. You don't need to build a dashboard to check either the data or later the query. This saves a lot of time. And then my final tip here for this video is build Mosaic models as data products. As you can see here, one Mosaic model is called inventory product. It has all the related inventory attributes and metrics. And then the other model is a sales related data model, or product, as I'm calling here. That refers to the data mesh concept, right? We have different products. If I want later, I can link them. Let's say there is a specific need to link those two products. I can do that. There's model linking in Mosaic. You all know this. But right now, treat them as separate products. Each one should have their own objects, right? This is important. That's also reusability if you think of it this way. But in the end of the day, we want to separate things. Then we can apply the proper security rules to each of those models, and that will be like the ideal scenario to start creating a proper universal semantic layer. That's very important trick, by the way. Don't do anything inside of a generic model, a huge one with all your inventory and sales metrics in there. No, sometimes they don't even relate to each other. So build separate products, separate Mosaic models, as I did here. And in case you need to link them later, you can do that no problem at all. All right? All right, that was it for this one. As you just saw, 7 important tricks that can save you hours when creating your semantic layer within Mosaic. I hope you all like this content, and again, it's my pleasure to have you here in the channel. I'm always looking forward to seeing you at the next corner.